Hey, this is ADV Truss, and I'm going to give you a quick update on a day wander I took up in the Sierra National Forest. We're gonna take a look at what I didn't know was actually an OHV area up there, and check out some of the trails and give you kind of a quick update. So nice to see you. Talk to you soon. Hope to see you down the trail, and let's get into it. And the staging area is here. It's a Kamook staging area. And so we headed up there, just a quick day trip, and then explored this area here. You can see from the map that there's tons of forest roads to check out. So we headed up to go first to check out the Lone Sequoia Campground, and that was off this 6S24 route. We made it down about here and hit some snow. Now I'm solo and it was going down into the canyon, in the canyon, so I kind of bailed when I hit that obstacle, and then went back up to this 6S15. This is totally doable road. All-wheel drive is really all you need. It's actually really well maintained. So I took this road down and then continued down 6S15 on the downside. And then I continued until I got about here, and the road was going down. And at that point, I wasn't sure if I was going to get into another snow situation, if it was going to be really muddy down there because it's been really warm and the snow's been melting. So I took a look at the map and thought, well, let me try the back way to see kind of what I was getting into, and if I wanted to take this route down. So I went ahead and took this 6S41 around, and again, really doable road. You'll see in the video, there's a couple really cute videos. You'll see in the video, there's a couple really cute little bridges to cross. And again, I think all-wheel drive is really all you need to go down there. So I was able to come back up this 6S41. So I kind of did this loop here. And then it was already kind of getting a little late, so I went and checked out this route here. And I think this is 6S14. Not 100% sure, so I'm just going to go ahead and call it. And if somebody else out there knows this is, you know, labeled by the Forest Service differently, let me know. This is also a really good road. I only made it, you know, kind of about where the arrow is. And I could see some of the roads going up the mountainside over here. And again, they looked pretty good. So I'm pretty excited to go back and explore this area a little bit more. And also you'll see this China Wells site and this Buford site. I couldn't find much about them on the internet, so I think I need to do a little bit more research to try to figure out what they were and potentially where they could. These things, Cedar Brook and Battalion Pass. So I'd like to go back and, you know, kind of explore more of this area. And then also you can see over here on the right, there's just, you know, it's just like, please come explore me. So one of the first roads that I hit was this 6S15. Now I'm actually going up the road here because at the bottom in the kind of gully valley, I'd hit a lot of snow and ice, and I could hear some people down there in that area, you know, playing in the snow. But I didn't want to venture over too much snow, and I wasn't actually sure how much snow was down there. So I went ahead and turned around from that point and came back up. And as you can see, the road is pretty well graded. I think they've been doing a lot of lumber activity or tree cutting activity out here. And it was pretty enjoyable. I don't know when this area had a major fire go through it, but the forest floor is littered with cut trees and branches, so it makes kind of hiking around, at least in certain areas, a little difficult. So this is coming up, and you can see Highway 41 ahead of you, and then to the right is the 6S15. I went ahead and then headed down the 6S15 route, and there's a lot of dispersed camping along this. It kind of runs along the highway. The road is totally doable. I mean, you don't even need all-wheel drive for this section of road. There are kind of some slippy areas. When I was up there, it was pretty warm, so the snow was melting. But again, nothing that I don't think just a regular passenger car could handle. And this 6S15 heads to the Kamook staging area, which has a ton of parking and, you know, trailer space if you bring your all-terrain vehicles up to this region. So, and there's still a lot of snow, and like I said, there were some people up there, you know, playing in the snow, riding their dirt bikes, riding their ATVs. You do come across them on the trails, so, you know, it's good just to not be speeding, because they probably are. And there wasn't actually a ton of people up there when I was there. I probably saw maybe 5 or 6 rigs in the staging area and ran across a couple dirt bikes. So on this route, on that map, you saw the China Wells site, and this is kind of coming up to it. So I parked here, had some lunch, kind of went for a little hike, took the dog around, and it was really, really kind of a nice area to go exploring. From here, I headed down the 6S41, kind of from the China Wells site, and you can see the road kind of narrows down a little bit. It's not as well maintained or graded as the other roads, but it was still kind of doable and pretty fun. So I headed down this road a little bit, and I think if you look past this tree here, there's a little pull-out area, and I pulled out there and went hiking with the dog a little bit to kind of take in the view and check things out. And heading down this, now I hadn't been up in this area, so this was kind of like my first time exploring it. So I wasn't sure that this 6S41 kind of goes down into the backside of the mountain, so I wasn't sure what was on or what I was getting into, because I had ran into the snow on the other side. So I continued down it quite a ways. Again, I think if you just had all-wheel drive on this section, you'd probably be fine. As I was starting to go down, I wasn't sure if I was going to run into heavy snow or not. So at that point, I kind of made the quote-unquote executive, I don't want to be stuck out in the middle of nowhere decision, to go back up and see if I could come around from the backside to kind of see what I was getting myself into. Now this is coming around the backside of 6S41. So I went back around down to check out the valley to make sure I wasn't getting into any kind of, you know, heavy snow. Went across one of these cute little bridges, and then headed up this route. Now this route was a little rougher and a little bit more slippy than the rest of the roads you've seen. I still think all-wheel drive, you're going to have no problem doing this route. And this was probably the most fun section of the trails I had been on so far. And, you know, you've kind of got some slippy areas and some berms to go over. And so it was definitely fun and well within the range of most all-wheel drive, four-wheel drive vehicles. And it's one of those things, had I continued down it from the other side, you know, it would have been fine, right? But I was taking the extra side of caution because I was by myself, and you know, I have all the gear to get unstuck. You know, I have the track boards and the winch and the ground anchor, but I would prefer not to have to use that. So anyway, and you can see up above this next ridge is where I turned around from the other side. So that all worked out. And you can see it's, you know, there's a little bit of mud, but overall the road is pretty well maintained. There wasn't any you know, huge ruts or anything that, you know, would have caused concern, and Alice handled it perfectly. And then this is the point where I turned around before, and the road is actually really good. And then speaking of the Kamook staging area, there's plenty of room in the staging area for rigs, and there's also on the 6S15 lots of pull-out areas to pull out even a large RV. So definitely, if you have a bigger rig, this is a nice place to come and check out. The road to the left goes down to the staging area, and the road to the right is 6S41. And then the last trail I got to explore was the 6S14. This is the one that kind of snakes around the mountain and goes down. There was some snow and snow melt on this route, but again, I think at least for the section that I was on, all-wheel drive is going to be fine. It's pretty well graded, and I'm really kind of excited to go back and see, you know, to actually take this road to its terminus and then see how the trails break off. You can see all the wood action. There's still some snow up here. And again, there's some really nice views from here, which are nice to take in and go for little hike arounds. Now on this route, and again, it's January, so honestly I expected a lot more snow than I saw, especially with the melt we had. But there were portions of it where, you know, there was ice and mud and snow kind of mixed together that you had to traverse. I don't think an all-wheel drive vehicle would have any problems with this. So I think you could probably head out there with some confidence. And it was really nice to be able to do these roads and to go out there and kind of reconnoiter to find areas that either I'd like to go back and explore more or do more camping. And again, you can see this is kind of slippy ice. I had Alice in 4 high, but I could definitely feel on some of this there was slippage occurring. So that's all for this trip report, and hope to see you down the trail.